This is the James John podcast, Casting Couch edition, take number one. James, how do you manage your Airbnb from a different country? How is that possible? How do you do that virtually?
Okay, so I'll tell you about why I did. I did the 4 hour, read the 4 hour work week, and then I actually built this business because I thought that it would allow me to do that. So the way I've built it is as low touch as possible and without needing my time. And then I've hired people that can do stuff as much as possible without my help. And initially, I started in Sweden, renting places, putting them on Airbnb, managing them for other people, giving them a guarantee, etc. And then I moved. I did that for like 2.5 years there. Then I moved. I got sick of living there, and I moved back to Australia. Well, actually, went to London for a bit, but I didn't really want to move there, so I went back to Australia and I set it up there. So then before I left, I kind of had to make sure I had everyone in place to keep it running, because I did actually do a lot of go to IKEA, buy a new French press because it broke or whatever. So I made sure I found a cleaning company that could also do the running, like going out and to IKEA or fixing a tap or whatever. So I actually found a construction slash cleaning company. It's like a wife and husband duo there, and they still run it to this day since like 2017. It's not really optimal, like the reviews aren't that good there, but I've only got two Airbnbs left there. So I rode it up 27 properties, like managing properties, co-hosting, etc. That was the peak, but they were all like short-term deals. So it was like all through summer, and then it's a terrible winter there. And then I moved back to Australia, and then I found properties that I could, furnish really well, that I know are going to pop and really work on Airbnb, forever. So there's not many places that I've taken on that haven't worked that I've actually furnished myself. And I set out to minimize the back and forth with clients. That's why I liked rental arbitrage, because it's just, I know I take on the risk. I give the owner the amount that they're happy with, and then I furnish a place that allows me to keep like way more margin than if I was co-hosting for someone else. Yeah, and then I basically learned how to do everything myself. Well, I already knew in Sweden, and I just had to find people to do that stuff for me. And then before the pandemic, I had it at a point I was about to move to Ibiza. Actually, I'd already rented out one room in my two-bed apartment, and I was going to rent out the other room before I left. And then I couldn't go. But then I just focused on scaling, because through the pandemic, to have the scale so I can actually move to Ibiza once it was finished. And so I did that in like 2022. And the main things that you need is, reliable cleaning company, a runner, someone to do everything that a tradesman or a cleaner can't do, virtual assistants around the clock, like 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So like the runner needs to be able to go out for emergencies, even at like $100 an hour at 11 or midnight or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then that allowed me to not have to reply to guests anymore. And I can just kind of check asynchronously with the team, and, I'll send a message to them and they can take 24 hours and it's no big deal. Long answer, but that's the game plan for anyone that wants to do the 4 hour work week with the Airbnb business.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with the Airbnb business, I'm sure every business has its hurdles. What are some of the biggest struggles as say I'm a new Airbnb student coming in? What are the struggles that I should be aware of that you got to get past it just to, never quit? But these are the struggles you should be aware of that are going to be difficult for you.
It's not really a struggle to get places if you've got the cash. Like if you've got, say, 10K that you could put into a deal, then it's essentially packaged up effort from 2 months working at a job or 3 months working at a job, saving up, or 6 months, whatever. And then you're essentially buying a deal. You're saying, hey, hey, owner or real estate agent, I want to rent this place for 2 years, and I'm going to furnish it, and I'm going to put it on Airbnb, etc. Well, that's not exactly what you say, but you're then taking on the risk, and then you need to be confident enough that the place that you're taking on is going to make you money, and that you know how to furnish it and prepare it and everything. Or if you're starting with zero capital, then you need to be prepared to pay for your first deal with effort and massive action. Like you can't just fiddle about on your computer for a couple of hours and just get a deal. You're going to have to take like dozens of hours of effort, or of learning first, and then dozens of hours of effort, and and failing, and then learning, okay, I did that thing wrong, maybe that's why I didn't get that deal, etc., before you actually get it. So it's not a walk in the park, to just start with zero money. You really actually have to hustle. Did that answer your question? Or
Yeah, I did.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. When it comes to Airbnb, what made you identify uh, Airbnb as a profitable business? Why Airbnb? Because there's so many different sectors of real estate. Like I do wholesaling, but why Airbnb? I know it's related to your intro of your story, but what made you think, okay, this is a great idea. I can start making income, and how scalable is an Airbnb arbitrage business?
I guess it was the only I'd heard of option agreements, like buy options, where you buy a place and give the give the owner 5 or 10 grand and say, I'm going to give you what you're asking. Then you kind of, I don't know well enough what it is, but I knew there was other ways to make money in real estate with no money down. But I'd actually moved to Sweden, and I was going to start a e-commerce business selling bamboo pillows and also selling them at shopping centers just over a setup table. And it proved like not a really good business model to do in Sweden. So when I was renting a place to live for the first couple of weeks, I noticed it was like 3 or even 4 times the price. So if I rented a bed, just a bedroom on Airbnb to share with like an older guy or whatever, like the Airbnb host where you rent the room, it was going to basically pay for his whole rent and more because it was in like a trendy area. And then I just realized that it's a great place basically. And I found a 2 bedroom place with one small room with a single bed and one master room with two single beds slash a king bed where I could put them together. And I took it on. I told the owners, yeah, I'm going to have friends staying with me and so on. I didn't actually tell them that I was going to do Airbnb. And then I stayed in that small room, rented out the other one on Airbnb, and I was paying for all of the rent plus making a little bit of profit. And then in the winter, basically just covering the rent. So I was living for free. Then they caught me, and I was like, oh, well, come on, can we make a deal? We actually made a deal, and I ended up moving out, and we put that whole place on Airbnb, which used to be on Airbnb before, by the way. And they were doing a flat price of like 290 euros a night or something. And because it was still a good season, I could basically almost charge double. And then I was taking about, I think it was 35% like of the revenue, but I had a guarantee of the rent amount that I gave them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got started, and then I just sort of started going where in Sweden the owners rent out their place directly, and I just started sort of doing different deals with owners like revenue splits or just give them a flat amount. I would do it seasonal there because I made so much in summer, and then you just kind of break even in winter. So I'd give them a seasonal rate as well. Yeah, so it was. I guess I just saw the opportunity right there in front of me, and I didn't really want to keep studying or something because to get a job in Sweden you need a master's, but I only had a bachelor's, and really didn't want to study for another 2 years just to get a job.
And how scalable is Airbnb?
Yeah, I mean, it was very scalable with doing deals with owners where you don't have to actually put money down, where you just give them a guarantee, for example. It's super scalable. But it's also scalable. If you're starting in any season but low season, you can pretty much get your money back in many markets after just a couple of months. Like even if you're furnishing it as well. If you don't need to furnish it, then it's even more scalable. I don't think it's as scalable as like selling stuff online maybe, but it's more predictable. So it's kind of a bit of a slower journey to get to like 20K a month, but you can pretty much be confident that once you get an Airbnb and if it's already working, it's probably going to work for like at least 5 years until you need to like update the furniture a bit or stuff like that. So it's scalable. It's not the most scalable, but it's the most predictable, reasonably scalable business.
So it's the same routine, process over and over with every property, and the amount of time you can hold the property. How does that work with the homeowner? So say 1 year versus 5 year contract. Like how do you?
So I would usually do 1 year at the start, and then I learned that actually my friends were getting burnt doing the same thing, and they were getting burned and just getting unlucky where the owner wanted to take it back and they wanted to sell it. So I just do 2 year leases, even if they say 1 year. I'm like, I can't do it if I've got to furnish it and I want to do it properly. and then you don't make money for the first month while you're getting reviews. So I just do 2 year leases. I don't think I've ever done a 3 year lease. So yeah,
It's 2 years the minimum.
yeah.
And how long does it take from start to finish from identifying, hey, this is a good deal, and then rehabbing it, furnishing it, putting on Airbnb, and then getting your first like staying tenant in there or guest?
So I basically just rent places that are ready to go. I don't do any renovation work. I just put furniture in. So if something needed some sort of renovation, I would avoid it, or never painted walls or anything like that. Maybe I would ask the owner if they had some random purple or red walls or something. I would say, can you paint that white at, or maybe ask them, or offer them to chip in $500 or something. I've had friends that they've said maybe they want some extra feature, and they'll go halves, like air conditioning or something, just go halves with the owner just to get it done. So when I was just doing it myself, I would rent a van. There's like pretty much anywhere in the world you can find an app where you can just rent a van. I get vans, not utes. So if I buy a mattress or something, I can leave it overnight and it won't get rain on it. And I would usually just work 10 days straight furnishing it myself, and I'd get a mate to help me bring the fridge in or all the extra stuff, and get a red trolley so I don't need to rely on people helping me carry stuff as much as possible. So it'd be 10 days straight work, around 10 hours. So I'd say it's around 100 hours, 120 hours of labor per property. Now that I'm over in Europe, I'm furnishing them online. I'm basically doing like filming a lot of Loom videos, which is like a screen recording it with my face and showing people what to do. And then I hire people in Australia to, just do what I used to do. And now it takes around, I'd say it takes between 2 and 3 weeks to do from afar, which maybe it seems really bad, but it's like I basically pay twice as much rent as I used to pay when I was doing it myself, where I would actually rush. I just make myself available. But when you're hiring people, you can't really ask them to like work on Sundays and stuff like that. So yeah, it takes longer, but I'm happy with that because I don't have to. I don't have to do it myself, so I can enjoy my life over here, not have to be in Australia in winter.
And when you're getting started out, what are all the, I guess, positions that you definitely, for one, need to know, and then two, how fast can you outsource those positions that are critical in an Airbnb business to have it automated?
Yeah, okay. When you first start, I mean, I was even doing cleaning myself. The first one is, I would say, just don't do cleaning yourself at all. Just get a cleaner ASAP. Always check every single clean at the start to make sure the cleaner is good and make sure they're trained. And then you're probably going to have someone that you can scale with. Find an individual cleaner when you start out, or a duo, like a husband and wife duo that they just both do cleaning, or two friends or whatever. Have a backup ready. So once you've got the cleaning sorted, then you need to start thinking about getting a virtual assistant. Really, the only way to do it is hiring someone overseas in Philippines, because they've got the American accent. So guests aren't really sure if they're overseas or not. So it's kind of better it's a better guest experience. The first VA that I did was 5 p.m. till 11 p.m. So that allowed me to like go on a date or do stuff with my friends without having to check my phone. Because when you're answering Airbnb guests, you need to answer them like ASAP, because that helps also your ranking. Or if there's a problem or whatever. The next thing would be, I would say, a runner. So if a guest can't get the lockbox open or something, and you're out with your friends, you really don't want to have to leave and go 30 minutes away to help the guest get into the property. Or actually, I solved that years later, by just getting a backup lockbox with backup keys, so you don't have to physically go there to help them. But yeah, getting a runner, and then after that, this is all assuming that you're getting enough properties to pay for these people. By the way, should cost around $700 for a kind of a average VA in the Philippines per month. Yeah, and then you want to get someone from 9 till 5 to do all the messages. You can do a deal with someone where then, if you've got, say, 3, 4, 5 properties or 7 properties, you can maybe do a deal with someone in the Philippines where you don't really want to pay them to sit at their desk the whole day. You could maybe do a deal where it's like you pay them what they would get if they worked 9 to 5, but they're available on their phone from 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. But they just go and pick up their kids and whatever, and just reply on their phone to guests. And then they work with the runner to solve issues. Ideally, find a runner where you could just pay them per hour. Maybe have a minimum of $200 a week of work that you can give them, and that can maybe get them their availability in certain time slots where you can't do it. And then eventually, you want to get that runner to be available, or two runners to be available, so you just never have to leave your house or wherever you work from. And then you get the VAs to do everything, and then you pretty much home and hosed, and you've detached yourself from the business, and you can travel, and you don't have to be in the same time zone or anything like that.
So customer service VA is what I'm hearing. 9 to 5, then 5 to 11. That's gonna respond to customers
Yeah,
or guests, and then a runner that's physically there that can go there for any reason if there's an emergency or they can't get the lockbox open.
exactly.
Okay. What about for lead generation? Like, say you want to expand. Say you hit your 27 properties, and now you want to get to, say, 100 properties by end of 2025. What about that? Do you outsource a VA for that to do all?
I've tried that sort of stuff many times, but I find that you really need to micromanage the VAs to make sure they're doing it properly. And well, actually, I would use templates for outreach, and I would get my VA to shoot out the template, and then if anyone replied, then I would then take over. That would save me the brute force work of messaging everyone. I think I might have played around with the second message. Let it have like a bit of a message flow of if they say this, then say this. It makes it a lot easier now with ChatGPT. Actually, I've got like a ChatGPT prompt that can kind of give the VA or my students, for example, like exactly what to say if the owner says this, so you can reply quickly. But I recommend always doing it yourself first, so you know how long it takes, because you don't want to get swindled by a VA on Upwork where they say that they're working and they sent 10 messages in 10 hours and it cost you $50 for 10 messages when you could do that in like 45 minutes.
In regards to scaling, how much on average, if someone wants to get to a sweet spot like where you're at, you said 27 properties,
No, I got like 22 or
22.
25.
What is the cost monthly as far as the overhead to maintain 22 properties a month? Like, is every single property its own entity where you have to sign VAs for this one property, or is it spread throughout all 22 properties?
Honestly, I don't even know what my overheads are right now. I haven't done my bookkeeping for like 8 months, and it's on the to-do list. I've just been focusing on getting more properties and worry about that in April. I've also got to calculate my crypto taxes. I did just pay a cleaning invoice for 7 grand today, which I think was for 2 weeks. But we've got a couple of like houses that we clean, and they're like $500 a go. But at the end of the day, like the main thing is when you get a booking, let's say for $200 a night, it's going to also have a cleaning fee on it of, let's keep it simple. Let's say it's $200. The guest pays you for the cleaning fee. So the cleaning company charges you for the cleaning, and it's going to cost less than or the same as what you charge for cleaning. So you kind of don't, like, it's big invoices, but you kind of don't really need to worry because it's on the top of each booking. But the main things I've got is I've got a runner, and it's $40 an hour. Pardon me, $40 an hour and a minimum of 10 hours a week. So it's 400, 800, 1,600 a month for him. But if he works more than that, then he'll. So I just paid an invoice where it was an extra 1,000. But I've just got an automatic payment of $400 a week to him. Yeah, all the rents. But like I just kind of track if a place is making money or not by looking in my price labs, and I can see, okay, my rent is $500 a week for this one, or 1,000 a week, and this week the payout was 1,500 minus the cleaning fee of 150, so I made 350 profit on that in the spring or whatever. Or so that's how I keep track of if each property is making money. Then you've got, I know, roughly the bills are around $50 a week, like including all the bills like electricity, gas, internet. It's pretty much it there. The VAs, I've got a VA that gets 1,000 US per month, and she works 5 till 11, 3 days a week. And then she actually does the weekends from 9 a.m. She's just online from 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. She's not at her desk working the whole time. She's just kind of responding while she can go and do stuff with her kids or whatever. But yeah, she has to be on her phone maybe 15 minutes every hour sort of thing on average. And then the other VA that works 9 to 5 gets about 2K USD, I think. Those are the main costs. And then there's just some miscellaneous, like if you need to well, the runner does most stuff, or then the cleaning company that I've got also does a bit of runner stuff. If they're already there, they'll charge an extra $50 to, like, if they need to clean all the gunk out of the drain or stuff like that. I mean, loads of other videos like this on the channel, funny videos, useful videos and stuff on Instagram. If you want to learn how to build a boring but predictable and consistent business like this that actually does allow you to live overseas and so on, yeah, just follow and decide later if you want to do it.